Hey lovely ladies, Shakti here. Even though I'm starving hungry, I've been writing in a very inspired way, and when I get the buzz to write, I can't not write. But there's this kind of surge of inspiration that's coming through me that I want to share with you right now while it's still alive. Hello. And the message is very clear and very strong. I've just written a very short kind of post about it, but I'm also going to, I'll post the post in a minute. I haven't shared it in this group yet. It's on my wall. But I just want to do this live stream about it as well because it's so strong and it's so clear to me right now. So I want to just speak it while it's here, while it's alive and with me. Okay. So I've been sharing a few things recently on my wall. I've written some blogs, some posts which talk about my experience of traumatic childbirth the first time I gave birth, and how I felt completely unsupported, not heard, disrespected by the medical establishment, by the doctors and nurses. And so I had a traumatic birth. And my vagina tore, and that meant that sex was painful, and that led to my marriage breaking down. So there was this whole domino effect of things that happened. And I'm not saying that because I need any pity whatsoever. I really don't. That's not what it's about. But I was kind of really, I've been mulling over that whole scenario as I wrote about it. I've been mulling about it. I've been dialoguing with people who've responded to that blog, and then the women in my Awakening Shakti group have been sharing things about what they're experiencing right now. And the way things work is that it all goes into me as like this alchemical pot, and then I went for a walk and it stirred up into this kind of seed of truth, which is listen to her, listen to her, listen to her. And when I say her, it is your Shakti, it is your divine feminine, it is your body, it is your emotions, it is your heart, it is your feeling, it is your sensations. We have been programmed and conditioned for centuries. Even if you're listening to this thinking, no, I'm not, that's not me, I'm sorry, but you have. It's in your DNA. It is in our DNA, back through the ancestral lineage for thousands of years. It's in the body, it's in the mind. You can't avoid it if you're born and living in this world. And this programming is not to listen to her. The programming is not to listen to the feminine. And so, in my own personal story, and I have so many different examples I could give, I was told by a gynecologist, a female doctor that I went to see. She basically examined me when I went, and I said I can't have sex, it's too painful. And I was devastated. Like, I love making love, I love sex, and I couldn't have sex without it being excruciating, and I wanted to get back my sexuality, right? She said to me two things: use it or lose it. And then she gave me some antidepressants. That was it. I wasn't depressed. That wasn't the answer. How insulting. How lacking in understanding for anything to do with the feminine body, feminine sexuality. Like, no understanding. Of course, I didn't know either at that point in my life. That was back in my late 30s, 20 years ago. But then, I went on, and after 4.5 years of having no sex, no penetration whatsoever, so the use it or you lose it or lose it thing, load of bollocks, I met a man at the Five Rhythms who was a meditator. He'd had some tantric experience. He was a follower of Osho. He was a seeker. He'd been meditating very deeply for years, so very devoted to his practice, and also, as I say, knew tantric principles, understood them. And I was so aroused by his presence in a way I hadn't felt for so long. Even that was an awakening, to kind of feel desire, to feel arousal, to feel juicy, to feel wet in the presence of a man again. And then when we did make love for the first time, there was absolutely zero pain, no discomfort whatsoever. And I think that was the first time that I had multiple orgasms in one session of making love for several hours together. And all it took was him listening to me, receiving me from his heart, being patient, being loving, tending to my whole body in his lovemaking. So not going straight for the genitals, not going straight for the breasts, kissing me and caressing my whole body. But of course, the run up to that, we didn't dive straight into bed the moment we met. It took maybe a month or two. I don't know now. I can't remember. But before that, he had listened. He had been present to me. He had shown affection, love, care, kindness, consideration. He listened. He didn't interrupt. And so that is the foreplay. That is the foreplay that he had to give me for my body and my yoni to open and experience multi-orgasmic pleasure. And that was just the beginning then of my huge sexual awakening journey. And from that point, it just only ever got bigger and better, right? But that's about an external man. We all have an inner masculine and an inner feminine. And so what I notice men and women doing, even when you think you're not, is you're not listening to her. You're not listening to her. When an emotion rises, do you repress it and stuff it back down and pretend that you're not feeling it? When there's an ache or a discomfort in your body, do you try and push through it or override it? When you get an intuitive knowing, do you listen to it? Do you follow it? What other examples can I give? When your heart is speaking to you, do you listen to your heart? Do you move and live from your heart's truth? So if you are constantly overriding, or if you're constantly checking out and coming up into the mind, you're not listening to her. I noticed this morning when I was showering, I had some news yesterday in an email that could frighten me, it could alarm me. I don't need to say what it is, but it could. I could go into my head and keep creating stories in my head and interpretations about what that meant, and sort of creating more fear and anxiety for myself. And as I was in the shower, I noticed this was actually happening. I was split off from my body and I was up here in my thoughts and my mind. And I just said, stop it. Listen to her. And I took myself back into my body. And the moment I came back into my body and was present with my feelings, with my sensations, there was no anxiety, no fear, no worry. I was here, I was present, I was with myself. And so this is the work for all of us to do for ourselves, to hold ourselves, to be present to ourselves, to listen to her within us. As you gift yourself that listening, so basically as you bring your masculine and your feminine together, you give presence to you, to her. She will open within you. So then that's how you begin to experience the inner union. That's how you begin to experience the feeling radiant, the feeling in love, the feeling sexy, not for a man, just because that's your essential nature. And as the minute you feel safe and anchored and present with yourself within, that will shine forth from you. Of course, that's how nature works. That's the way the world is created. And so rather than looking for a man on the outside to do this for you, you have to do it for yourself. Create that inner union. Listen to her. Listen to her. Keep listening to her. The world is awakening. She is awakening. We're all on this journey. That's why we're in this group. And, I think it's really important to say this journey never ends. I've been doing this inner work for 17 years. And I am constantly being shown and seeing aspects where I haven't been listening. And as a result, I have suffered in some way. Just to give you a concrete example so it's clear. I'm in this business course at the moment, which is all about doing business from a feminine perspective. integrating energy, integrating emotion, integrating intuition, and operating from that as the foundation, not from logic, not from planning, not from strategy, not from analysis. And I realize, as someone with a very strong mind, you know, I've got a really acute mind, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's great. I've been so programmed for so long to start from here, like, how much do I need to earn? That means so much, therefore I need to do this, right? It's all logic, it's all planning, it's all analysis. It has never worked for me. It's drained me, it's exhausted me, it's pushed me, because I have not listened to her. Now it's like a complete switch around, and it's like literally, even though I have a diploma in marketing, I used to work for one of the top 5 management consultancies, I was the most promising young businesswoman of the world, not the world, of the year, sorry, of the year. You know, despite all of that, it has not worked for me. The minute I stepped onto this path of following my soul's truth and supporting the awakening of the divine feminine, those old patriarchal ways have not served me, have not supported me at all. And now it's like I'm having to relearn a whole new way. And the old habits die hard. You know, I see them, they die very hard. So if that's the case for me, and you know, I've been doing this work for 17 years, I'm pretty sure it's there in all of you. And I know from the work that I'm doing in my Awakening Shakti group, you know, it's there, this not listening. And she's just asking you, please feel me, please hear me, please listen to me. That's all I want. And the minute you do, you turn in and you listen to her, she'll begin to open. Your healing will deepen, your integration will deepen. That's the task for women and for men, actually. So that's what I had to share. That's what's alive and passionate for me. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that and what feels true. And the Awakening Shakti workshop, well, it's a retreat, really, a day retreat on Sunday the 18th of October. It's in a few weeks, isn't it, I think? It's a whole day where we're going to be going deeply into the field of Shakti and to how she awakens, the process of that, even though it's not a linear thing, of course, because she's feminine. She spirals, she dances, she shifts and changes, but offering some context, some understanding, but also some practices for you who are called to come and embody more, deepen more, feel more, open more, and let her divine intelligence, because that's what it is, it's divine intelligence, begin to touch your life and your being and your soul and your essence and your body more. That's it. Lots of love.